what an ending. Jimmy Garoppolo had himself a night. Finds Kyle Juszczyk to give the Niners the lead with 37 seconds left. For most teams, that's enough. Green Bay Packers, not most teams. Aaron Rodgers, not most quarterbacks. He had 37 seconds to get him down. Finds Davante Adams. Kind of felt like whoever had the ball last was going to win this game. Packers had it last. Mason Crosby on the left hash. 51 out with time expiring. It is good. The Packers win an absolute thriller in San Francisco last night. After the game, Aaron Rodgers on what this win means after a slow start to the season.
Give some legitimacy to some of the things we've been talking about, that was kind of an aberration and that we are a talented football team. It felt like in the locker room today that we finally had the energy that I've been waiting to see.
It's just tough when you got a guy like Aaron on the other side. You leave him any amount of time, you never know what could happen. I mean, the dude did it in 36, 37 seconds. You got to tip your hat to him sometimes.
All right, well, we tip our proverbial hat to our quarterback, Mike Vick, joining us now. Morning, Mike. So let me ask you this. If you're Jimmy G in the final minute, is your mentality to score no matter what? Or are you worried about leaving too much time on the clock for Aaron Rodgers, which is eventually what had happened?
Let me just start off by saying this. My man Jimmy G can't catch a break for nothing. I mean, he had the game pretty much wrapped up, and they couldn't put it away. And it wasn't on him. It was on the defense, and I'll get to that in a second. But in that case, you got to score. You can't worry about who's on the other side of the field. You can't worry about Aaron Rodgers getting the ball back. If I'm in that situation, I'm going down and I'm trying to get 7 as fast as I can and relying on the defense. And my man D'Amico Ryan, that's my boy. Shout out to him. We played together in Philadelphia.
I think we lost Mike for a second, so I'll jump in real quick. And so I think we lost Mike's audio for a moment. So here's what because if you look at this final play, and then I'll throw it back to Mike, assuming we can. I'm sure if you're a Niners fan in the moment, you're kind of hoping Juszczyk goes down, but it's almost impossible to ask a player in real time to go down there. Here's what's not impossible, and I'll throw it to Mike if he's there, and if not, Wilds, you respond. It is the player's job to try to go score. It is the coach's job to understand time, score, situation. And you're not seeing it on the replay, but you're going to have to trust me on this. The Niners had 12. Oh, you see at the very beginning. They have 12 seconds on the play clock when they snap that ball. They have all 3 timeouts. It is Kyle Shanahan's job, and everyone loves Shanahan, and he's an offensive genius. But he also has been there for a lot of final quarter meltdowns due to clock management. He has had big leads in big spots his teams have not been able to hang on to. It is his job to tell Jimmy G, let this thing wind down, Wilds. It is his job to say, we got 3 timeouts, we're at the 10-yard line, time is on our side now. So I don't blame the Niners or Juszczyk for not going down, or Jimmy G. Jimmy G's final drive was excellent. But you cannot snap that ball with 12 seconds left. Not with 12 seconds left on the play clock. Not with 3 timeouts. Because when you saw Aaron Rodgers, he did something I don't know if I've ever seen someone do. He did a fist bump celebration after the spike, because he knew, oh, Mason's going to make it. So you've got to, that is as smart as Shanahan is, Wilds, you've got to understand time, score, situation. You're not in a hurry anymore. The Packers are out of timeouts. The clock is now your friend. So if we're going to lay blame for anything here, it's Shanahan not communicating to Jimmy G, don't rush. Let the play clock wind down. We're fine with it being 25 seconds. We have all our timeouts. We're essentially at 10 yards from the end zone. We're going to have plenty of time for whatever plays we need.
Yeah, see, I would like Mike's take on this if we get him back on audio, Broussard. But for me, if I was Jimmy G, I would just hey, let's score. I think there's a rhythm thing to Jimmy G. If you're having a game-winning drive, what you think is going to be a game-winning drive, I don't want to have to start thinking affecting my offensive rhythm because I know Aaron Rodgers is over there. It's like, all right, well, I don't want to call a timeout here, but we're going to, even though I feel like I'm in the flow of it. So I'm totally fine with the way it was handled. And at some point, if the Packers don't have a timeout, how much time is enough time? Would you feel good with, like, all right, Aaron Rodgers has got 24 seconds. Like, too much time. He's got, 9 seconds. Can't leave 9 seconds when Aaron Rodgers is getting the ball. Like, it's 37 seconds. Like, at some point, like, that feels like, you cut it close enough with no timeouts that your defense should be able to prevent him from kicking a field goal and seal the win.
Yeah, Wilds, I'm with you. Nick, I couldn't disagree more. There's no guarantee you're going to score. There's no guarantee you're going to score, and they needed more than a field goal. I get it. Yesterday, they were 4 for 4 in the red zone. But you might go down there and not score, not to mention all types of things can happen. When you start getting cute, you could have a fumble, as we saw with the Chiefs last week. They got cute. I thought they should have kept playing football. Let Mahomes do what he does and try to score the touchdown. But they got cute. Oh, we got the time. We get the clocks in, in our favor. We got a field goal right here. And what happens? A guy that had never fumbled in his NFL career fumbles. So there's no sack, a penalty. There's no telling what can happen. You got to score. Nick, their defense has been one of the best. When healthy, it's been one of the best in the league the past few years. I got to trust my defense when they got no timeouts to get it done, and they didn't get it done. I don't blame the offense at all on this.
Well, listen, hold on. I agree. Of course you've got to score. But if you don't score, you lose anyway, right? So it's not as if they were leaving the time so they could force a stop. If you don't score, you lose anyway. I am not advocating they call one of their timeouts and break the rhythm. I'm advocating they take their time instead of rushing. If they snap that ball, instead of with 12 on the play clock, with 6 on the play clock, there's no reason to believe anything changes aside from the Packers don't. Wilds, you ask how much is enough time. Well, they kicked the field goal at 2 seconds. They had 37. So evidently 35 seconds would have been fine. Literally 2 more. If they take their time for 2 breaths, they win the game. So I'm not, again, the use check going down at the 1 adds like the variables of Broussard saying, you got to go score. You can't risk not scoring because it's not like, that is the job of the coach. Here's the thing that I don't think Kyle Shanahan understands. And he's a brilliant offensive mind. I get it. His job is not to score as many points as possible. His job is for his team to win. And whether it was the Super Bowl against the Patriots, whether it was the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, or whether it was this final minute last night, he seems to not fully grasp the concept of there are different ways that we need to attack this. And it is not always go, 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 go. We are not just playing the Packers defense. We are playing the clock. And so I don't blame Jimmy G, Wilds, who I know, I heard you, give an amen to Vic. Jimmy G played really well. Aside from the terrible pick and aside from the terrible fumble, he played a nice game. But aside from those 2 awful plays he made. But Jimmy G's job is to go score. It is the coach's job to think about all things inclusive. And by the way, as good as the Niners defense has been historically, Rodgers was cutting them up most of the game. Like when they scored, Wilds, were you shocked that the Packers got in field goal range? I wasn't shocked. Like when they scored, I was like, ooh, they could go get in field goal range.
Yeah, but the weirdest thing that I would like to do, I might just become an NFL coach, and when I go to apply for the job, they're like, well, Wilds, what's your offensive philosophy? I'm like, we're always going to run the 2-minute drill. Seems like things open up. Seems like we can go seems like we can go 50 yards in 35 seconds if we just run I run the 2-minute drill immediately. I just run it all the time. That's the only play I have. Look, I wasn't surprised.